Hey FA Nation, Justin Fensterman back with you with another Fantasy Football Stock Watch report as we head into Week 12 of the Fantasy Football season. Let me remind you, though, that even though we've got holidays coming up, we can't lose focus. We must keep our eyes on the prize that is winning our fantasy football titles. So enjoy the turkey, enjoy the stuffing, and all the trimmings with it, but make sure your lineups are set because we've got 3 games on Thursday. Let's stay focused. Here are the latest trendy players in our fantasy football leagues for the latest Fantasy Football Stock Watch report. First players trending up, Kirk Cousins. Cousins hasn't thrown an interception since Week 5, and he's thrown multiple touchdown passes in 4 of his last 5 games. He's actually only thrown 2 interceptions all season, which is the fewest among the top 15 quarterbacks in fantasy. Despite the harder matchup coming up this week against the 49ers, Cousins continues to throw well over 30 passes in most of his games. He's completing over 68% of his passes. Cousins averages over 24 fantasy points per week, which ranks him in the top 10 among quarterbacks. He's thrown 21 touchdowns, ranking 5th among quarterbacks, and he's up there in passing yards as well. Up next, Elijah Moore. Despite the Jets going through a number of quarterbacks over the last few weeks, Moore has hit the 13-point mark in PPR in each of his last 4 games. The Jets could be without part of their run game as Michael Carter is dealing with an ankle injury, and that could favor the Jets' passing attack against Houston. Moore has been targeted no fewer than 6 times in his last 5 games, and he's caught 4 touchdown passes total in his last 3 matchups. He has more catches than any other Jets player this year, and after dominating the target share in Week 11, his target percentage is now ahead of Corey Davis for top target on the team. Another receiver trending up, Brandon Aiyuk. Has his hamstring finally healed? Does he understand the offense he succeeded in last year? The 49ers have a few strong matchups coming up against the Vikings, Seahawks, and Bengals, and Aiyuk has been getting more looks from Jimmy Garoppolo in recent games. After not being targeted more than 5 times in a game more than once through Week 7, Aiyuk has been targeted 7 or more times in 3 of his last 4 matchups. He's caught touchdown passes in 2 of his last 3 games. He has about a 14% target share in the 49ers offense, and he has actually received at least 20% of the 49ers targets in each of his last 4 matchups. Now for players trending down, let's start with Kyle Pitts. While Pitts is the most targeted receiving weapon in the Falcons offense, he's produced 1 double-digit fantasy outing in PPR in his last 4 contests. Pitts hasn't caught more than 4 passes in a game since the Falcons' Week 7 matchup, and you would think in situations with Calvin Ridley away from football and Cordero Patterson hurt, targets would be force-fed to Pitts. But he caught 3 passes for 29 yards on 5 targets in Week 11. The Falcons don't even have an effective ground game, and Pitts still hasn't been producing. Up next, trending down, Adrian Peterson. This one is going to sting because some of you spent a pretty penny on Peterson on waivers, and he's hardly doing anything with the carries he's been given in the Titans' offense. He ran in a touchdown in Week 9 versus the Rams, but that's about it. After being on the field for 33% of his snaps his previous 2 weeks, he was just able to account for 19% of the Titans' snaps in Week 11. He got outsnapped by Deonta Foreman in Week 10, and both were outsnapped by Dontrell Hilliard in Week 11. This whole run game is very difficult to rely on at this point. The 36-year-old grizzled veteran has rushed for 3 yards per carry. Yikes. Ryan Tannehill will also vulture touchdowns from the run game. He's run in 5 scores himself this year. Final faller, Emmanuel Sanders. Since the Bills' bye in Week 7, Sanders has fallen off big time. He's hit double figures in PPR just once in his last 4 games. He's received less than 10% of the team's target share in 2 of his last 4 battles, and he's hit the 4-catch mark 1 time during this stretch. Dawson Knox being back hurts Sanders a bit, but he can't seem to shake Cole Beasley from getting either as big of a piece of the target pie as Sanders or even a bigger piece than him. Beasley has even been playing hurt over the last few weeks, and Sanders has still matched him in target percentage over the Bills' last 2 games. Not ideal. That is yet another Fantasy Football Stock Watch FA Nation. Like I said, happy holidays to all, but keep it locked in because it's winning time, and down the stretch we go. Titles, here we come.